Hello, this is Greg Allison Green Graves coming to you on the 12th of February 2021. And we're going to talk about canned food safety. How long is canned food good for? And what do you look for? How do you know you don't want to open that can? How do you know that can may not be something you want to go for? So there's a lot of things to go by. We're going to go by that. Hey, I'm probably even going to do a taste test. And I'm going to show you how to use the single most reliable grid down method I know of to get your cans open if it don't come with a pop top, okay? Well, you may not want a pop top. All righty, so let's get into this. Now, all this canned food comes with a date on the bottom, and that is, I don't know if you can see that date. Sometimes they're really hard to see and read, and that is a use by date. Typically, this is like something September 2023. Kind of sometimes they're hard to read, kind of all smeared around everywhere. And sometimes, let's see, sometimes they're pretty easy to read. This is good to December 30th, 2022. You see that? Well, that's not how long it's good to. That's the use by date. That's the date by which they assure you that this food should still be safe and fresh too. Because, to be honest, under the right conditions, canned food can last almost infinitely under the right conditions. But not always, and there's things to look for. That's what we're going to talk about. So the use by date is a rule of thumb. That's what you need to know about that. And you need to know that typically what you want to do is you consider food to be fresh like this for 2 years past the purchase date. But it's still edible if it don't have certain problems. Still edible. Now, there is something to go by. If you keep the food stored at 75 degrees Fahrenheit or below, it should be good indefinitely, really indefinitely, as if it's not acidic. Also, you need to know that food is actually sterilized pretty much when it's canned. The canning process, especially the heat process stuff, puts it at about 250 degrees Fahrenheit, 250 degrees Fahrenheit for about 3 minutes. So basically, all this stuff is cooked, and most of the stuff is pre-cooked anyway. Now, your acidic canning processes, like where you're canning fruits, yeah, you're not going to cook them so much. And they're acidic, so the acid is your guarantor of freshness. So they don't quite heat them up as much. But the canning process typically is a heat process. So they cook this stuff. They have it under a little bit of a vacuum. They put the can lid. They seal it down on that. But the seals can get bad. You can get other problems with these cans over time, and that's what can cause you the problems. So here's the thing to look at. So make sure inspect your can. Look at it real good, and make sure it's not dented, that there's no rust on it. I mean, I've seen cans with rust on them. Now, acidic cans, if the contents of it is acidic, tomato, fruits, which are very acidic, then sometimes the acid gets to the can. And when the acid gets to the can, several things happen. One, with anything inside a can, you're liable to get some of the metal taste, some of the taste of the liner into the food over time. So it may not be appealing. The food may break down molecularly inside. So it may not look the most appealing. It may not taste all that great, but it's still edible if it's not compromised. So you got to make sure that as long as this can had maintained its integrity, it's not compromised, then the content should be good. But sometimes you can't see necessarily where the problems are. So look for rust, look for holes, look to see if it's dented, bent, or anything like that. And the biggest thing of all is if the can is bulged out, it's no good. If you pick the can up and it's lighter weight than it should be, then something's leaked out of it. Yeah, it's got to compromise. You don't want it. You don't even bother opening it. It's going to stink to high heaven. I'm going to show you a can of Wiener sausages that I know is bad. You see that? This is bloated. You see on the bottom how that's bloated out? I hope you can tell. It's bloated out. By comparison, here's a can that's not bloated out. You see this can it's still got a concave sucked in part. That's still sucked in. This is not. It's bloated. This is bad. I would not eat this. I wouldn't even want to open this, because what's happened is somehow this got compromised. Bacteria got it, and the metabolic activity of the bacteria was enough that this thing bloated up, which means it's kind of strange. Couldn't have had much of a leak because it would let some of the pressure contents out, right? Maybe it resealed. I don't know. You don't want that. You see a bloated can, maybe didn't get sterilized right. I don't know. Never, ever, ever eat the contents of a bloated can. Now this can here is the use by date on this is 24 used by what's hard to read, 07/21/11. So this is supposed to be good to 2011. This is 10 years past its use by date. This is Wiener sausages. I might try one of these in a minute. This is brand new. I'm going to try one of these first, so I get an idea of what the taste ought to be like. And I may not go into eating this. I may just, yeah, I may not swallow that if I do take a test. I'll sniff it first. But you know, that should be good. But there is a little bitty dent on the bottom of this can. Another thing to know about these cans, like I say, check them for rust, bent, dent, little holes. These cans are with the pop tops. They're convenient to open. Yeah, you don't have to have a can opener. They're quick and easy to open. That's great and wonderful. But that around that, where it pops off, that little lid where it pops off, that's what you call a frangible joint. That's a weak point. A frangible joint is a weak point. Always remember that. And what that means is that that is a place where it could get compromised easy. Maybe that's what happened to this guy here. So maybe it got a little squeeze on or something, because some of these cans, especially these little cans, they're easy to squeeze. If you're not careful, you got it in a backpack or something, you bump into something, it might get a little squeeze, just enough to let a little bit of air in it, and bang, it's bad. So they're also more likely to fail sooner, these kind of cans, these pop tops. The most secure can is one like this that does not have a pop top. But Greg, you know, if the grid goes down, how to open it? Well, you know those little, most people have those little can openers, a little twisty thing you can go around and around and around. Those are terrible. They wear out. I've never had any of those last me long. I'm going to show you the kind of can opener that's perfect. This lasts forever. I have to sharpen it once, a little bit every now and then. But I can sharpen the can opener part. I'm going to show you that in a minute. So before we go into the food tasting and all that stuff, like I said, if it's light, be careful. Acidic cans, but remember this, if a can's got acidic contents, that acidic content probably will compromise the can over time. That stuff will start to eat away and eventually eat through the can and come out, make a mess. So your fruits, your tomato stuff, that ain't gonna last as long. Anything that's acidic, but the non-acidic stuff, it lasts a long time. And so I'm also gonna show you this is corned beef hash. See, all this is cooked. This is actually ready to eat. Now there's a disadvantage for, I'm going to talk to you about a ship and some other things here. Before I go into that, you know, this is a different kind of food storage. This is what you get from, if you go to prepgreg.com and get the specials that I've got on there with my Patriot Supply. This is what's inside the buckets, my friends. This is what you get inside the buckets right here. This is 4 servings. Now this is cool because you can look at this, if it's still got a vacuum on it, you know, or not, you can tell. If it gets opened up, you can tell. Just look around, inspect it. And it just tear off, and then you got a little sillage on. I made a mistake, and I tore one of them, and I didn't seal it again. I was throwing it around, and the powder got all inside my box. It had any pancake powder, of course, so that would do that. But this is 4 servings of food. Now, if you want to talk about backpacks, what would you rather carry? 2 of these big old things that each one of these is 2 servings. That's 4 servings. This is lighter. It's flexible. It'll go in your backpack. It won't be pushing at you, and you don't have to worry about cracking the top open. And 25 years from now, that will still taste as good as it does today. This stuff, it may be safe to eat if the patent top, if you hadn't caused other problems with it. But is it going to be yummy? Probably not. Be safe to eat. I mean, if you're starving, you can live on it if it's not compromised. Like I just said, check out the things I said. If it's not got into this problem, it's probably okay. Probably okay, but it won't be yummy. That will be yummy 25 years from now, and then you know it probably lasts beyond that. That's just what they certify it for. So this is certified for 25 years. This stuff, maybe 2 years. So there you go. And speaking of this stuff, by the way, I do have that special. You get 20% off. You get 2 of these. That is a little bit better discount. That's a month supply, 4 weeks of food, 2,000 calories a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. With a deal like that, you'll be a winner. And then you can get 1 for a month, but you can order several if you're going to order several, order the two. It's a little bit cheaper than it is the one, just a little bit. So they vary just a little bit around that 20% price point off. Prepwithgreg.com. That's where you find this. It's lightweight, easy to carry, and just remember, you can always put pouches in your backpack, easy to bug out with. A whole lot easier than this stuff. But now, what we're going to do here is I'm going to, I don't know if I can put that. Yeah, I'm going to do a video. I'm going to show you how to open this can a little bit with a grid down, long-term, totally reliable way to open it. But before I go into that, I want to talk to you just a little bit more about. They found a ship. Yeah, a ship that went down in the Missouri River. In fact, the steamboat Bertrand went down. It was heavily laden with provisions. It was set out on the Missouri River in 1865 for the gold mining camps in Fort Benton, Montana. 1865. I mean, friends, this is after right around the time that the war of what we call Northern Aggression in my parts ended. So this boat got snagged going up the river, and it was so heavily laden, it got swamped and just went under its weight, sunk to the bottom of the river. It was found a century later, yeah, a little bit better, since in 1968, under 30 feet of silt in the north bend of Omaha, Nebraska. I'll show you some pictures of this guy in a little bit, because I just pulled some of that up. Now, what you need to know is among the kind items retrieved from the Bertrand in 1968 were brandied peaches, oysters, plums, tomatoes, honey, and mixed vegetables. Now, in 1974, so okay, now we're almost or we're actually 109 years later after the thing is up. Chemists at the National Food Processors Association, NFPA, analyzed the products for bacterial contamination and nutrient value. Although the food had lost its fresh smell and appearance, anything about that. The NFPA scientists detected no microbial growth and determined that the foods were safe to eat, as it had been canned more than 100 years earlier, just as safe as they were then. Of course, they did probably stay under 75 degrees Fahrenheit in the north bend of the Missouri River, buried under silt and water for all them years. Yeah. So the nutrient values vary depending on the product and the nutrient. NFPA chemist Janet Dunnick and Edgar Elkins report that significant amounts of vitamin C and vitamin A were lost. Now, vitamins deteriorate over time. The best way to get good vitamins is pick something fresh, right? But especially this canned stuff, the vitamin content will drop down significantly, but protein levels remain high. And all the calcium values were comparable to today's products. So there you go. If you're starving to death and you find an old can, if it's not compromised, hey, you're probably good to go. But the NFPA chemist also analyzed 40-year-old can of corn found in the basement of a home in California. Again, the canning process had kept the corn safe from contaminants and much nutrient loss. But in addition, they said that the kernels looked and smelled like recently canned corn. Well, lucky for them. So there you go. So that's what you need to know about this canning process, the food, and how long it lasts. Let me see. I'm going to go to the internet here and pull up this pictures of this boat and the Bertrand, and I'm going to do a share here. I'll show you this boat. Hang on a second, guys. Un momento, please. And if I can find my cursor here, I will span this out. We can see a little better. There we go, guys. That's how they found it right there. You know, the boat didn't look all that great, did a little work there, but yeah, it's buried under all that silt, guys. They got a crane digging it out. This is what it looked like before. That was it. The Bertrand, or Bertrand, it looks like Bertrand. So it went from that to that. Basically just a river steamboat. Old-fashioned river steamboat like Mark Twain would have ran back in the old days. Something like that, guys. But this is, so all the stuff they got out of this boat is in a museum. So that's the fun thing. They got all this stuff in a museum. Now, this is some of the contents of it. Of course, they used to can a lot of stuff in bottles. That's part of the ship itself. So there you go. Pottery. Wow. A lot of cool stuff they got. It's just all in a museum. All right, so let's stop this share. And let's look at this food, what we're going to do with it. Tell you what I'm gonna do. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open something I know is good, because I want to get things contaminated if I can avoid it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys how to open a can like this in a grid down situation. I'll put it on top of this can so y'all can see what I'm doing here. And voila! Y'all remember, some of you may remember when I did a video, my 3 favorite knives. Well, this is one of them, a Swiss Army knife, Tinker version, the Tinkerer Swiss Army knife. Because why? It's compact. It don't take up much any more room than a regular pocket knife hardly. But it's got a screwdriver and a punch and all kind of nice little tools in it, but don't have spoons and forks and ridiculous things like that you couldn't possibly put in your pocket. This is easy to carry. And it's got 2 regular blades, you know, regular long blade and a little sharp short blade. And it's also got the screwdriver, you know, and bottle opener, screwdriver, flat tip, cross tip, punch, which you also use as a sewing for leather. That might be important in the bug out, right? It's a great little knife. If you need anything more than that, you carry a multi-tool. This is a multi-tool of sorts, but look at this. So all you got to do, this is like the P-38, what we call a P-38 when it's the Army. There was a P-38 aircraft. Maybe that what we call P-38 might have been named after, because maybe it's a can opener and open naval ships of the enemy. So maybe or tanks, so maybe they thought it was a can opener. We used to have a little foldable aluminum thing we carry on our dog chain, and we call those P-38s. Well, they work the same way as this. This is more robust, and these will last forever. I've never had one of these go wear out on me. So all you got to do is you just catch this part here on the lid out here. Then this sharp part goes on the inside, like so, and you just press down. Then you walk it back a little bit, press down again. Walk it back. It just takes a little more time than the rotary one, but it's very manageable. And you walk it around like so. We're going to taste test this. I'm going to taste some new veiners just to make sure what I'm getting. And then we'll taste test some old stuff here, maybe. We'll see. So I'm your guinea pig today. Green Greg's your guinea pig. This thing all the way around. Just make sure you just bring it forward enough so that every time you do go down, you're cutting, and you cut all the way through. You just do this repeatedly. That's not the fastest thing in the world, but hey, I've opened big old coffee cans this way many a times. So I've used these cans. I use them a lot. I like them actually because they're reliable. I always got one in my pocket. Yes, this is a knife I always got in my pocket. And we're almost done. I got one more. Get it in there right. Voila. I'm done. I'm gonna wipe that off. Actually, I wiped down this little blade with some alcohol before I started this. I like to stay clean, keep everything clean. I don't want to get bacteria myself. And I hope when I eat them old veiners, I ain't getting something. They're not bloated out. You know, I believe in practicing what you're preaching. I gotta get all the way. Yeah, look here. See that? Cool thing, like I say, it's cooked. It's ready cooked. Now the cool thing, the one cool thing about carrying canned food on camping, bug out, will be if you don't make a fire. Why would you not want to make a fire in a hurry? Or you don't want to be seen. Or maybe it's just too wet and can't make a fire. Most people want to make a fire when they camp out though, right? So there you go. You see, open it up. So that's a good thing about this stuff right here is that's good. Corned beef hash is a mixture of it's a mixture of potatoes and beef. So you get your starch and your protein. Two things that might be in short supply when you're camping out. You can do a lot of greens. I'll show you how to do that. Eating the weeds and trees. Hope this coffee's not too rank. Yeah, it's pitch. I let this stay on the pot too long. Oh yeah. All right. So now we're going to experiment. Now, so I got a good baseline I'm going to start with one of these that's fresher. I'm going to start with this new one. The date on this is, what did I say again earlier? Some of these are hard to read. Well, I just bought it for a couple of years. It's kind of hard to read some of it. It's got date in there somewhere. But that's focusing. So it's not just good to get the baseline. You know what you're getting into. These little veiners, you have to kind of pull them out. Okay, pretty normal. All right. Now this used by was 2011. It's all right, 21 July 2011. I don't know if y'all can see that. Our best by date. 10 years ago, meat. Does have a little dent on it, but that bothers me a little bit. That is such slight dent in a corner. I think it's probably okay. You see me kick over and do the funky chicken right here, right after I take a bite. You know, it was not okay. If you see me doing a video a couple of days from now, you know I survived it. If you don't, well, so hey, Greg, was nice to know. This pops open. Not bad. No bad smell. Color looks, man, a little yellow on top. A little more yellow. I said there is some difference in time. This has got a little yellow to the top. Whoa! Let's put it on my notes. I don't do that. Try to show. That looks a little bit more yellow to me. All over my keyboard here. Oh my gosh. For that. My notes, my keyboard. Smells okay. Smells just fine. Of course, you know, there could be stuff you don't smell, but you know, it wasn't bloated. It should be sterile. Like I said, it should last infinitely. It tastes the same. I'll tell you in a minute. I'm gonna wipe up my mess. I made a mess. Spilled that meat juice all over my desk. Oh my gosh. These aren't quicker picker uppers. I'm just smearing it around, looks like. Bear with me a second. I hate to have a nasty surface with that kind of stuff here. Yeah. All right, try to get clean. Here we go. It's Greg going to do the funky chicken. Do-do, 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 do-do. Each one, pull it out. Trip. Got a little bit more of a can taste to it. Just a little bit more of a can taste. But still, I've opened 2 cans of this. I'm not going to eat 2 cans. But just so you know, not too bad. Not too bad. Could be a lot worse, right? All right, I'll finish it. Like enough. You don't ever see me again? Don't do it. No, it'll be fine. This guy? Oh no. Don't do that. Can's bloated. Big dent. Nope, nope, don't do it. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. All right, guys. Hope y'all enjoyed that. Hope I entertained y'all. You know, you can be watching now to see if Greg's still around the next few days. Did Greg survive? Of course I will. Of course I will. I've ate old canned stuff before. Many times, many times, many times. Made a meal out of it. So there you are. Now you know. And you know what to look out for. You know that stuff will last. It's edible. It may not be yummy, but it's edible. It's edible. So just bear that in mind. It's edible. It's not as good. I gotta admit, that tastes better, but it's edible. All right, my friends. With all that said, you know what to look out for. You know your canned goods last a lot longer if you take care of them. I would keep them kind of cool. And I don't have AC in this house, so that stuff that's I just ate here, it has not been kept at 75 degrees because it often gets about 100 degrees in my house, and it has about every summer for the past 8 years. So it made it. Also, one other thing I point out is the liners in cans today are there to keep from getting the food contacted to the metal. But you want to be careful, especially for eating that stuff, because it's got that bisphenol A in a lot of those liners. And that stuff is the kind of stuff, it kind of makes you a girl. It kind of feminizes guys. I don't think I got anything to worry about in that department, but hey, you might want to think about that. It's also in your receipts that bisphenol A is chemicals, plastic all over the side. It's nasty. It's not good. All that said, all I'm going to say at this point is, my friends, I want to thank you for watching and have a great weekend. And I know it's going to be cold in most parts of the United States. So I hope you all stay warm. Keep power and stay warm. And thank you for watching.